Hello, all. I found another science fiction gem out on Tubi, and this one I cannot recommend highly enough. It's called Tomorrow Before After, and it was released in 2024, though apparently was shot in 2023. Directed and written by Alfonso Quijada and starring Natalia Reyes as a character simply known as Woman. If she doesn't remember her name. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where there has been a pandemic followed by a catastrophic total war, final war, it's referred to as. Whether it was nuclear or not is not ever stated, but the whole world was destroyed. And Natalia Reyes is the only survivor, and she doesn't know why. She's very distraught. She's very thoughtful, and she lives in a cabin in the woods that was owned by her grandfather, and uh, just sort of ambles around this devastated landscape. The film was shot in Nicaragua and Colombia. It's very beautiful. The cinematography, which was done by Manuel Castaneda. Great soundtrack by Alejandro Ramirez Rojas. Um, and he came up with some very interesting s- songs. There's some songs and some just the soundtrack, which is very interesting, very well done. Really fantastic production design by Hernan Garcia, art direction also, set decoration by Diego Lopez, and the costume design by Tulia Diaz. Um, Makeup by Adriana Pacheco Acosta. Just a really fantastic movie. The story is fairly simple, and I'm not going to spoil it all for you by revealing everything that happens. But there's a lone survivor, like I said, of this apocalypse. The world has been destroyed. Automobiles don't work anymore because like kind of a strange smelling gas came through the atmosphere, and after that, nothing that ran on gasoline would run anymore. There are all these abandoned cars, but there's nobody in them. All the bodies from the pandemic also just vanished, and she doesn't understand what happened to them. Um, she rides on a bicycle with a cart on the front of it, and picks up things that she needs, like candles and canned food, things that she needs to survive, seeds, which she plants. She grows corn and carrots in a small garden. All the animal life disappeared also, she explains. And every once in a while, she has these kind of strange sort of dream interludes where it appears that there's some sort of a reddish yellowish light that appears, and it like hovers over her, and you hear like a weird alien sounding noise. And her grandfather had apparently told her all these stories about life on other planets and things of that sort, and it affected her. And uh, she thinks that these noises are made by aliens, that it was actually aliens who came and wiped out humanity, but there's no proof of any of this. The only thing we know is that there was this war. Anyway, through a series of circumstances, she used to be a nurse, and she goes to the hospital to look for some medical supplies like pain relievers and bandages and things of that sort. And she also takes a pregnancy test and discovers that, much to her dismay, she is in fact pregnant. Her lover and her lover's name was Marco, and they made love the night before he went off to go to the war. And she tried to beg him to stay, and he wouldn't. He was trying to be patriotic and said he was defending his country, and he never came back. Nobody ever came back. Uh, and uh, she's rather distraught about the fact that she's pregnant. She doesn't really want to bring a child into this devastated world, but has some hope that maybe things will be all right. Um, and then she discovers a dog, and the dog is a German Shepherd, and it runs away at first when she meets it, and she tries to like coax it towards her. She leaves some food out for it and eats the food, but it won't approach her. And then slowly it becomes accustomed to her, and she becomes accustomed to it, and it becomes her pet. And she names it Lobo, and it follows her around on these visits that she makes into the devastated town to pick things up, supplies, food, and batteries, and the medical supplies that she's going to need when she has to deliver this child, obviously by herself, because there is nobody else. She's constantly looking for other survivors. She calls out, "Hello," and "Where are you?" And there's no answer. There's nobody apparently. This makes her very distraught, and you see her like inner struggle through the fantastic acting of Natalia Reyes, who is slowly starting to crack up, basically. And she goes into Oh, she goes to a restaurant to pick up a grinder so she can grind corn into corn tortillas, and which her grandmother had taught her how to do. And while she's in the restaurant, she's looking at herself in this mirror and crying and yelling at herself. Why are you still alive? You should be dead. And you stupid bitch. And starts like yelling at herself and cracks the mirror with the butt of her. She carries around an assault rifle, which is all wrapped in duct tape, which kind of looks kind of grimy. I thought it was kind of an interesting, effect to have this old grimy gun that she carries around, and she's always thinking that she sees somebody, but she never does. She never actually meets anyone else. It becomes apparent that she really is the sole survivor of this apocalypse, and she doesn't know why, and is very distraught about it. Anyway, she cracks the mirror with the rifle, and you see her image cracked in the mirror. And I thought, wow, that's a more remarkable shot. Some great cinematography there. It was all shot outdoors mostly, except I think the only set really was the interior of the her cabin and the exterior, and it's all basically shot outdoors. Um, Eventually, some things happen. There's a big, terrible thunderstorm. Oh, Lobo is barking up at the sky, and she doesn't know why. She looks up, and there's a bird, and birds are now starting to return. And she, for no explanation, she had explained that after the war, all the animals disappeared, and now it appears that some of them, anyway, are starting to come back. She sets a trap and captures a pigeon, and they rather gruesomely they fry it up and eat it. And then there more birds start to appear in the sky, and there's this terrible thunderstorm, and the roof is leaking, and it's just a wooden roof and a thatched roof, and she's putting out pots and pans. And Lobo becomes very distraught. He doesn't like water. He doesn't like being wet. He starts barking incessantly. She says, "Stop it, stop it." She's yelling at him both in English and Spanish to stop barking. And he won't because he's upset. And she chases him out of his house. She says, "Get out of here." And chases him out into the rain. And then she regrets it, puts on a raincoat, and goes out looking for him, yelling, "Lobo, Lobo, come back." Can't find him. Becomes very upset and is trying rather desperately to find him. She actually goes into a little boat that she has, kind of a coracle, and is paddling it. And she's not paying attention. She hits her head on a branch and knocks herself out. Uh, she's drifted way downstream by the time she wakes up, and the rain is gone, and it's a beautiful day. But she can't find Lobo anywhere. She eventually, has to make her way back. She has to walk a long way and over a bridge and over all these like forested areas. I think some of that was actually shot in Canada. It says so in the end credits. And every once in a while, she has something that happens where there's like this weird light and a weird noise, and then she wakes up with like a start. And she thinks that maybe that the Earth was actually wiped out by aliens, and that they're sort of observing her. And she says later at a point that she has a dream that she sees this beautiful alien woman, and the woman points to her and says, "You're the beginning, or you're the seed," something like that, and then vanishes. We don't actually see that happen until the end scene. And there's something interesting about how they identify the alien, and I'll explain that in a bit. Um, anyway, she's lost Lobo, and she's looking for him. She's calling Lobo, Lobo everywhere, and he can't. She can't find him, and uh, eventually she makes it back to her grandfather's cabin. Um, and is looking around, and she's getting more and more sick. Obviously, the baby is starting to come. And finally, just when she's just about given up hope, she finds Lobo again, and is very happy. And then she has the baby, and it cuts to about a year later. The baby is now 1 years old, and is in the cart with her that she rides around on her bicycle with the cart, and she's always carrying the AR-15 or whatever it is with her too. And Lobo starts to bark at something. You don't know what it is. And she goes down the hill where Lobo's barking, and it turns out there's another survivor, and it's a man. And they start walking towards each other. Eventually, they both have guns raised, and eventually they lower their guns and smile, and it just says the beginning. That's a little bit of a science fiction cliche, but the movie is so incredibly good because of the fantastic, like, Oscar-worthy performance of, this woman, Natalia Reyes, and I am not kidding when I say that. Really fantastic performance. I would give it a top mark, a 5 out of 5. Really, really excellent, and I highly recommend it. Again, Tomorrow Before After from 2024, available for free on Tubi. I recommend that you watch it now.